16 after 9, welcome back to the show, and a big warm welcome to our listeners in Polokwane on One Nation FM. Next up, we're going to be talking with Dr. Ferrial Adam. She is an environmental activist, water and climate change. She is with OUTA, and we spoke with her a couple of months ago about water quality in South Africa. And of course, that situation has reared its head once again. Water quality has deteriorated in South Africa. Also, criminal charges are being laid against some municipalities. And one of the other reasons why we're looking at the water issue this morning is due to the deaths in Hammanskraal, due to obviously water contamination. Dr. Ferrial Adam, salam alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me again, Julie.
Lovely to have you. But the narrative has changed this time around due to the deaths in Hammanskraal, due to many municipalities facing probably criminal charges, or they're going to be sued because the water quality has deteriorated. When you and I spoke the last time a couple of months ago, you gave me you gave me the assurance that the water quality in South Africa is really, really of a very high standard. What has changed?
I'm not sure I said that. I would never have said that our water quality is of high standard. I think that the tap water in some of our cities are safe to drink.
That is
But
exactly, yes, that is exactly what you said, that our tap water is pretty safe to drink. That's
in
exactly what you said.
in the main cities, I mean, I've
Right.
always said it in the main cities because we've got many areas already, like the Free State and places like Makanda in the Eastern Cape as well, where you can't drink the tap water, right? And it's been this downward spiral for more than 10 years. So in a sense, it hasn't really changed.
The
It's
tap
still,
water, would that be the tap water you're referring to?
I would say that, you said it's gotten worse. I'm saying that it has been bad for about 10 years. And
Okay.
what is the well, in 2013 they did the last blue drop and green drop reports. And after 10 years, yes, they did show last year that there was a significant drop in the quality, but not the tap water. And I think that what this report shows us is, and it highlights it, and I think it's a good thing that this report has come out because for many, many years, the Department of Water and Sanitation didn't want to release it, that it's showing us that we need to be on high alert. We've been saying that for a long time. Many water scientists, environmental activists have all been saying that we need to be on high alert because of the state of our water resources. Now, if we look at our rivers and streams, I think that they're so polluted. And remember, that's where we're getting the bulk water to feed into our systems for drink that has to be cleaned, and then we get our drinking water. But the more and more polluted the rivers and streams are becoming, the harder and more expensive it is going to be to clean it. So we have to act now.
Okay, so you talk about the blue drop and green drop report. What exactly is that? How does it serve us? And I guess also the all important question is collectively, how do we create an awareness campaign so that people stop littering our natural water, the rivers and streams, etc.?
So there's a few things. First, let me start with the blue drop, green drop report. So the blue drop and green drop reports are reports that are released by government. They're supposed to do it annually, but in 2013, when the then Minister Mokonyane looked at the report, saw what a bad state everything is, she said, "We're not releasing them anymore." Which was actually bad because it didn't give us an idea. It didn't give the public an idea of what's been going on with our water treatment and our drinking water and our wastewater. So the blue drop is a report on our drinking water, and the green drop is a report on our wastewater treatment, so sewage. Um, and yes, and the picture is very, very, very bad. It shows that in terms of, they don't just they evaluate the drinking water along technical skills. They do bacterial checks, they do chemical checks, and it's actually quite worrying that some water treatment plants don't even have the basic chemicals to clean our water. And so that is a big concern. In terms of sewage, as you can see with Hammanskraal, it's not only Hammanskraal, wastewater treatment works across the country are old, the infrastructure has not been maintained. And so what we're finding is that sewage is just spilling over into rivers and streams. And I can't believe that this has been allowed to go on for 10 years. It's actually an absolute violation of our human rights. And I'm glad that the Department of Water and Sanitation are finally stepping up and saying that they're going to charge municipalities criminally. But I think it's not just charging the municipalities, they need to be braver than that and actually charge the mayors and charge the municipal managers. Because unless someone is held responsible or fired, this kind of thing will carry on. Now, in terms of broader society and what we could do, I agree with you is that there needs to be community-based education and awareness that we must not throw litter into stormwater drains because that adds to the blockages, it adds to breaking down the infrastructure. I saw people who were doing construction throwing their rubble into a stormwater drain. That should not be allowed. We also throw everything we want down the toilet as if we think if it's gone down the toilet, it's fine. What we don't realize is that further down the line, it is affecting the infrastructure.
Very worrying indeed. And as as I've indicated earlier on, that we need to do education campaigns. I think also water is such a scarce resource, and it is our basic human right. But we know what's going down in the country due to corruption. We should start teaching the kids from a very young age about this very valuable resource. And I think it needs to start in the home and carried through in the schooling system as well. Because if they're not taught the dangers of contaminating our rivers and streams, we at the end, our future generations are going to be without water. We won't have future
Yeah,
generations.
absolutely. And I think that the reliance on water tankers and bottled water should not be the norm. We should not think, oh well, we can just go and buy water if there's a water cut or water, like there's a boil water notice, we'll just buy. Not everyone can afford to buy water. And then you have the water tankers that are acting like mafia and want to control water access, and then also selling the water that they're supposed to be giving for free. So it's in our best interest to make sure that municipalities work, that we demand that our water treatment plants are treated with respect, that they get the funding they need to be upgraded. And if people mess up, they must be fired or they must go to jail. They can't, you're right, Julie. I mean, it's not only, I don't even think we can say anymore that it's future generations are going to be affected. People are being affected now. And
Absolutely.
so we need to put a stop to it. And we as ordinary citizens have more power than we realize to make change.
I think it's time that citizens rise up now. But that being said, you are an activist, an environmental activist. And we do know, as you've indicated, bottled water, lots of people are resorting to bottled water, but it's only the middle class and the rich people that are able to afford bottled water. But that comes at a price as well. It pollutes our environment. What are we doing with all of that plastic? So we
Yes.
shouldn't be encouraging bottled water. And
Right.
I think I might have asked you this question in our previous interview around bottled water. I've been told once a while ago that bottled water is really exactly the same as our tap water. It's no different. Am I right? Was I given the correct information? Or is bottled water truly, sterile, really spring water that has been untouched by any pollution whatsoever?
So there's legislation that has, because before everyone was bottling it and pretending that this was spring water, so that you'll actually see on the bottles it will say spring water when it wasn't. So legislation has forced it to change, that they have to change the label, so they have to say bottled at source, or else using tap water kind of thing. So you have the the bottle should be able to tell you what type of water it is. I would say 90% of the bottled water that we have on our shelves tap is from our tap water. Um, and I
I,
think that there are, they have to also, those kind of bottling companies have to make sure that they have the right checks and balances in place to make sure that they're putting clean water into those bottles. And you are so right about the plastic. By the way, Julie, tomorrow is World Oceans Day. And one of the big things that people are raising, Monday was World Environment Day. This is tomorrow's World Oceans Day. And the issue of plastics are coming up because,
okay.
the whole idea of the fact that we've got islands of plastic in our oceans, bottled water, bottled plastics, and it's the microtoxins that are going to be killing us and our fish and our
Absolutely.
oceans. So
Well,
it is a cycle. It does, everything links to the next thing.
absolutely. Yeah, we're ingesting all of those microtoxins by way of the fish that we eat. I kind of ask myself, what is safe to eat these days? Nothing. But be that as it, be that as it may, Furiel, let's also look at the issue around. I'll have to ask you that all important once again, because the area that I live in, there is panic. We're getting these messages on a daily basis, people asking, is the water safe in our area? Can I drink a tap water? And the list goes on. So, is the water safe? The tap water in Gauteng or the greater Gauteng area, or possibly the greater Johannesburg area, is the water safe to drink?
So the thing with testing water for safety is it's not a, I can't tell you today it's safe and then next week it is going to be safe. So that's what we do as WaterCan and Outer. We've been using a citizen science activist testing kit that we get out to people. We also are encouraging people that if you can afford it, contact us, please. It's $200 for a testing kit. Test your water. You can put it online. You can tell your community members that you've tested and this is what the results are. Because we're not sure that our municipalities are testing often enough. So that's the one thing. As citizens, we can test water. It's not as expensive as it used to be. But having said that, if we find anything wrong with our waters, the municipalities are supposed to inform the public. They're supposed to tell you whether or not you're allowed to drink the water or not. And if they don't, they can be charged criminally. And that's something we need to remember as well. So, having said that, though, in the city of Joburg, I think for now, we've also done some tests about three weeks ago, just before the issue around Hammanskraal hit the fan, um, where we tested public tap water and we found that the water was safe to drink. So it had no, we did a chemical test and a bacterial test. It had no E. coli in it. And that's what we would look for to make sure that, to say whether the water is good or not good to drink. And I think in Johannesburg, the city of Joburg, the greater Joburg, that is supplied water by Rand Water, the water is still safe to drink. But we need to constantly monitor. I can't say the same for the other provinces. I can't say the same for Free State. I can't say it for Eastern Cape, Northern Cape. So there and Northwest, in those areas, yes, I think there are problems. In the Northwest, for example, people living close to the Hartbeespoort Dam, for years, for more than 6 years, they know they should not be drinking the water from their taps. So we need to map it out, and that's what we're doing as citizen science activists. We're trying to get an idea of what's going on across the country.
Okay, Furiel, two more questions and then I will let you go unless you have something more important to share with us before we let you go. You raised the issue of all the rubbish that we throw down our toilets and how it impacts. And people do this very carelessly or not even applying their minds to what they're flushing down. Um, what is it that people are flushing down that they ought not to be flushing down the toilet?
So some people are flushing oil, chemicals,
Oh,
yeah, sanitary pads, baby napkins. So if it's like something where you think, I don't know where to throw this, it's poured down the drain or it's poured down the sewer. So those are the kinds of things that I think we need to be very aware of. And yeah, there's some strange, like someone would fix their car and there's grease, and then like, where do we put this? They throw it down the stormwater drain because it's gone. So that's the thing. But I think also, while we're saying we need to create more awareness, I think municipalities can do that as well, is to create better awareness, and also don't litter. I mean, people have paper and plastics, and then they'll just throw it in a stormwater drain as they're walking past, or they just throw it out their car. Those things blow into rivers and streams, and in somehow or another get sucked into the system as well. So I think we need to be mindful. We need to be aware of littering is not about creating. I had a case study where people were throwing litter on the floor, saying, no, but we're creating jobs. No, it's not creating jobs, it's losing jobs, because if the infrastructure is going to get blocked, we don't have the people to fix it all the time. So someone is going to lose their job for not maintaining the infrastructure. Those are the kinds of things we need to move away from. We need to realize that we all linked. It's a cycle, and that's
Absolutely. I've heard that stupid argument as well. We're creating jobs. Finally, you indicated that we as responsible citizens can purchase the water testing kits from Outer, test our own tap water in the area we live in, and then put out a message to reassure, and that's a civic thing to do, obviously, and reassure all of the residents to say, I've tested the water, it's good to go, and then hopefully someone else will take it up next month, etc. But how often does one need to do the testing?
so. So a municipality is supposed to test weekly for microbiology and
Weekly.
chemical weekly, but we saying we don't have to test weekly. We can test monthly. So if a few houses get together, I know that there are places where people can't afford it. So a basic kit that will give you a once-off test, it tests pH, alkalinity, hardness, your phosphates, nitrates, your bacterial test. It's got two bacterial tests. All of that in one little kit costs about 250 with a courier. We don't make money from it. We get it from the lab. It's a bespoke kind of kit for us, and we have a video training online that you can use. I speak to you and work through the whole process with you, and then you go ahead and test, and you'll be comfortable doing that. And then upload the data. So we're not making any money. We just want people to test, and if you can afford it, that is great. If you can't, like, we're trying to get people to sponsor those for other people. And imagine if you're in the street, you four houses, and you say, look, over the next 4 months, let's get together. You test this month, I test the next month, and each of you take, and for 4 months you will have data of your water. And I'm surely we have more that can do that. In many areas, you can do that and divide it up so that in your street you will know the quality of your water over a year.
Okay, so the quality is not great if you get a negative reading. Um, is it as simple as then just going forward and boiling your water before drinking? How else can one purify our water?
So one step back, if you find that there's something wrong with your water and you have high levels of bacteria in your water, or the chemical stuff looks a bit worrying, you need to alert your municipality and your councillor. Now, everyone I know has a WhatsApp group that they're on in their areas specific to their councillors are on it. You need to alert them immediately. The municipality needs to then test and issue a boil water notice, almost saying to people, don't drink your water until we test it. And then for people that, you can boil your water, and then use it. If you feel more comfortable, you can get more tests, boil your water, test it, and then drink it. But yes, generally for levels of bacteria, you can boil your water for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then leave it to stand, and then you can use it.
Anything else we need to know? One final thing, borehole water. What's the situation there? Lots of people have drilled boreholes because of the water scarcity situation in our suburbs. Are we safe with borehole water?
So even, you see, it's not a blanket yes or no. In some parts of the country, borehole water is quite good and untouched, and it's good to drink. But in Gauteng, particularly, and areas where they have mining, like Mpumalanga, those areas, you've got to get your borehole water tested. And then a kit like this is not going to work. You need to get a laboratory test, because what
Ah.
you will be testing for when you have a borehole is you're going to be doing heavy metals and other kinds of metals that are aligned to, and chemicals that are aligned to mining. And because, Gauteng, we have a lot of acid mine drainage. So it's not a simple yes or no. You've got to get it tested. And then also you need to do these tests every year where you pay for it, get your water tested at a laboratory so that you know if you can and cannot use it. Some people have set up really which is, if you can drop a borehole, you probably afford this, a whole filtration system that allows you to then clean your water and drink it. But I think at the beginning, you still need to test it to see what you need to filter it from.
Dr. Ferrial Adam, always a pleasure talking with you. Is there any final thoughts before I let you go?
No, I just think that we all need to be up in arms. I mean, we're experiencing load shedding, and it's really affecting our lives. But just imagine if you have no water or no clean water in your taps for days. We
Unthinkable.
really, yeah, we really need to rise up.
Dr. Ferrial Adam is an environmental activist, and of course, water and climate change is the areas that she looks at, and she's also with OUTA. What a pleasure talking with you once again. You go well. Keep safe.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. It is 9:37 News and Views right here on Salam Media. Next, we are going to be talking with Professor Sam Koma. He is a governance expert, and we're going to be looking at the outcome of the Auditor General's local government audit of 2021-2022.